Hi Booktube, it's Missy, and today I'm going to be doing my August wrap-up for 2018. August was a doozy. I feel like I didn't read anything. I mean, I did, but I came back from vacation and basically just vegged on YouTube videos that I missed because I had 2 whole weeks of no Wi-Fi. My husband always tells me that I'm saying those words wrong. Service, internet. I'm old and I don't know the proper terms for all of these things, but basically I couldn't use my phone unless I was just taking pictures the entire time. So I missed all of the YouTube videos, I missed my emails, I missed just everything. Instagram, Facebook, like I missed all of that stuff. And I spent the next 2 weeks of August just catching up on all of the videos I missed, on everything that, you know, you basically veg out on a daily basis in this day and age. So I didn't do much reading, but what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all of the novellas that I read at Booktubeathon, which was at the very beginning of August, and then the couple books that I completed at the end of August, which was one. And again, I'll get into that. So yeah, if you guys have watched the vlogs from my Yellowstone trip, I do have a few more that I will be posting in the coming days, but I did talk about some of these novellas that I'm going to be discussing in this video. I will not be doing a proper wrap-up on those videos because then I won't have an August wrap-up. So everything's going to be here in this video. So let's get started. I did take with me 2 Kindles on vacation because I need to make sure that I was fully prepared for everything. So I have my Kindle Fire, which had the colorful, you know, it has color. And so I was able to take pictures of the covers while I was camping, which I really liked. And then I read on my black and white Kindle because that doesn't eat as much battery. Is that silly to have brought in 2 Kindles with me? I don't know. So the first book that we're going to talk about, and I don't think I can open these up without them starting to like download onto my phone, but let's see. Can I, that one right here? Yeah, you probably can't see that. It's called Insylum. You know what? I'm just going to pop the pictures into my video. That'll be easier. So I'll put it here. Insylum by Z Ride. This book was fantastic. I gave this book a 4-star. I absolutely loved it, and it's free. All of these novellas that I'm talking about were free when I got them, like last year. And then when I looked them up before Booktubeathon, they were all free. So I will leave the links down below for all of my Goodreads reviews for these books, along with the Amazon links in case you want to download these novellas and read them yourself. I'm pretty sure they're still all free, and if they're not, they're not going to be that expensive. So Insylum is about 2 teenage boys that have been waiting for years for this circus to come to their town, and they've been like following their progress throughout the United States. Like they know where this circus is being run. Am I saying that right? Like circuses, their tents pop up or whatever. You know what I mean? Like their schedule. I think that's what I'm trying to say. The boys have been following the circus's schedule, and this isn't an actual circus with clowns and acrobats and stuff like that. This is a traveling like horror show, like you know the houses that you go to when you go to the fair, like those haunted houses. It's kind of like that, but it's a traveling one. So they set up this fake asylum, and they only allow so many people to go in a night, and then they cut you off because you're supposed to spend a few hours in the asylum. And you have to sign a waiver to make sure that you don't sue. You're not allowed to take anything in with you, just in case, again, you could sue, or they don't want to share anything that's happening inside for spoiler reasons and so forth. So the boys are waiting outside. What I found irrelevant to the entire book is the little inner fight that the boys are having. So the one boy, I can't remember his name, he is upset at his friend, who I believe is the same age or maybe is a year older. His friend is going off to the military, and he hopes that his friend doesn't come back. Like, almost like, I hope my friend dies kind of thing. And when you're little, you're very immature, and you want everyone to die. Like, I hope that person dies. And so you don't think about the consequences of actual death, how nobody can come back from that. So the boys are being lame. The friend isn't bringing up the fact that they are kind of fighting right now, and the boy is just like really upset. Basically, the one spoiler I'm going to tell you is his friend is in love with his sister, which is such a stupid reason to be upset and want your friend to die. Like, how dare you fall in love with my sister? Anyways, it goes into a little bit more detail than just I love your sister, and the boy is taking the whole situation out of context. He doesn't know all the details because he doesn't want to know all the details, and the friend isn't going to just tell him details unless he asks for it. So there's a miscommunication, which I hate in books. It always infuriates me, and I guess it happens in real life. So there's miscommunication at the beginning. But, again, that has nothing to do with the story. So I wished it wasn't put in there, because then I was like focused on it when I should have been focused on something else. Just the inside of the asylum was pretty awesome. So if you like thrashers is not a genre, slasher movies, you're going to love this novella. The boys finally get their turn to go in. And they walk in, and they're thinking, wow, this place is really cool inside. It looks amazing, but it's a little cheesy. It's a little cheesy. And then they keep going, and they're going, is this fake? It has to be fake. This has to be fake. There's no way this can be real. People would be, like, sent to jail for this, and you can't have this kind of stuff, like, legit happening right now. And then they get deeper, and they're like, am I stuck here? Am I being punked? Like, is this? And it gets worse, and it gets worse, and it gets worse. And then the very end, I was confused. I was like, okay, so they definitely went into the asylum. I know that for a fact. Like, I feel that that is not fake. But what happens at the end, you're thinking, did it really happen? Or did the boy imagine it? Like, what happened? Because he's not what's the term? Reliable source. He's not reliable. And so the ending was pretty wild. The whole book was great. And I said, it's a novella. It's about 150 pages. It was one of the longer novellas that I read during the Booktubeathon, which this one I read the very second day. So I started it on the 31st of July, and I finished it on August 1st. And again, it's this picture here. I've had this picture up the whole time. I don't even know why I'm saying it again. I forgot for a second. Yes, it was great. I would highly recommend picking this up. I gave it 4 stars. Really liked it. The next novella that I read, this happened at the... No. I don't believe I read anything the next hotel. So I read Limbo when I finally got to the Grand Tetons while my husband was making the fire. This one is really, really short. It's seriously like 5 pages, which when you download novellas from Amazon, sometimes it'll tell you how many pages the novella is, and sometimes it doesn't say anything. It just says ebook or something like that. And if you go on to Goodreads, it says the same thing. It just says ebook. It doesn't actually say the page count. And so I was like prepared to go into this novella, you know what I mean? Thinking, oh, it's a novella. But really it was a short story. And again, it was like 5 pages. So it's about a man who is stuck in this repetitious limbo. He's dead. He knows he's dead. He remembers certain things from his life, like right before he died. But it's like a Groundhog's Day thing. So every I don't even know if there's time in this short story. There may not. It might just like immediately start over. And I think that's the case. I don't think there's any like period of time where he's waiting around. I think it just immediately repeats. So he's supposed to learn from a mistake that happened while he was alive, but he continues to do the exact same thing that happened right before death. And because he hasn't changed his mind on that, his ideals and like the way he's thinking continues to be the same, even though he's being told, like he has this friend in limbo that keeps saying, you know, I think this is a bad idea. And he keeps saying, no, it's fine. And so it repeats itself over and over. I found it fascinating. I always like reading about books that have some kind of limbo where they're between heaven and hell. I always like books like that. So it would be, I'm curious to know what would happen afterwards. You know what I mean? Does he find salvation? Does he have this, you know, epiphany like, oh my gosh, this is why I'm stuck here. If I just change this one thing, maybe I can move in a different direction. Maybe there is a heaven, maybe there's a hell, maybe there's just an existence outside of the one I am hanging out at. So yeah, 5 pages. So I finished it immediately, like in 10-15 minutes tops, and then I went on to the next one. So for Limbo, because really it was like reading the first or second paragraph in an actual story. I mean, it says it's 5 pages, but I swear it's like 3 paragraphs long. Like in a regular book. So I gave it 2.5 stars. It was a good start to a story. It got me interested. I was definitely curious, and then I was upset at the end because I wanted to know more. I would have got a 1 star if I didn't care at all. So it was a good start to something, and that for me personally is always my opinion when it comes to like short stories, like short story collections. You never get the full extent of a story. You're always just dropped in the middle of it, or you get snippets or just the beginning or just the end. And so I always feel dissatisfied while I'm reading them. And yeah, so 2.5 is pretty typical for a short story. 3 is average, you know, normally it's going to be 2.5 to 3 stars. If it had a middle or a beginning, a middle, and an end in its short amount of time, it's always going to be like a 4 or 5 because, wow, I like those ones where I can actually dive in, have a whole thing happen, and then be done, and I feel content. You know what I mean? All right, so the next novella that I read, again, this one is called Inner Demon, and it was a short story. They need to do a better job on Amazon letting you know whether or not something is a short story or a novella, because maybe I just won't, even though they're free, maybe I just won't download and read short stories, because this one was even worse than Limbo. This is about a boy, and I swear this was like, if Limbo was 5 pages on my Kindle, then Inner Demon was 1 to 2 pages. I mean, it was severely short. It was crazy. So it's about this boy who's sitting in a laundromat. And I don't know if you can see from this picture. It's a well-lit laundromat. And you see this boy running out of the laundromat. And then you see like a monster inside it. So this boy is sitting in this laundromat and he's contemplating. He likes being around the washers and dryers because they have a soothing rhythm to them, which keeps his mind quiet. So he's not thinking about any urges that may come because of his, he was born a certain way. I guess in 3 pages, it's hard not to spoil the story. But basically, yeah, there's this boy with urges in a laundromat. That's all I can say. Otherwise, I will spoil the 3 paragraphs that it was. And then that's basic. It was so stressful for me because I was trying to think, how would I write this better? You know what I mean? Like, no offense to the author. By the way, because I don't have it next to me, I didn't talk about the authors. The author of this one is J. Klizma, I think. All that information will be down below or in the video somewhere. Yeah, the boy's in the laundromat, and at the end, something happens, and that's it. It's just over. Does this happen all the time? I have no idea. Does he just bounce around from laundromat to laundromat trying to soothe his inner demon? I don't know. Very strange. So I gave that 2 stars. There was no beginning, middle, and end. It was like someone telling you a joke and not giving you the punchline, and you're just thinking, are you done? Is that it? Because I'm confused. That's basically how I felt. All right, so let's move on. After Inner Demon, I picked up Uninvited Guests. Now, a few of you have been really excited to hear about this review because the cover looks good. Now, this is written by Victor Dark, and it's about a man and a woman who move into a house as newlyweds. Now, the couple were perfectly content, loving. They had been in a relationship for a few years before they got married and moved into this house. And everything was perfect for them. And then, of course, they move into this house and things start happening. Now, I'm such an emotional reader. Like, I dive into all of the books that I read. I'm not just reading surface words. You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually the characters of the story. And so it frustrates me because you have 2 characters who have been together for a while. You would think that you would know their reaction to things by just being around them constantly. So we have a wife who is religious, and we have a man that's not, and that's perfectly fine. Some people are Republican and Democratic. Some people are Christian and atheist, and their lives never compete. It's perfectly fine, and they're able to live amongst each other in harmony. But the wife is saying to the husband, you know, I have been hearing things. I think there might be a spirit trapped in our house. I think our house is haunted. And I would like to bring like a priest in and have it exorcised or blessed. And the husband's like, you're nuts. No, there's nothing wrong with the house. The house is a little bit old. It's probably just, you know, shifting because of weather or cold, you know. Houses, if they're made of wood, they can swell and contract. He's like, it's just the house settling, you know what I mean? It's fine. And she's like, you don't understand. When you're gone, I hear things. And he goes, I don't believe you. And that always makes me crazy. It's like, if you love someone, you believe them. until you're proven wrong. Like, that, you just have to 100% go, yes, I believe you. That totally happened. Otherwise, it's like, who are they supposed to trust if they can't trust you explicitly? Why are all of our words spelled and sound the same but mean two different things? Regardless. So they start fighting, and the fighting gets worse, and the wife is upset because the husband doesn't believe her. The husband thinks she's crazy, and they finally break up. They go their separate ways. And this is disheartening for the husband. He is completely heartbroken. He loved his wife. He didn't want to break up. And, I mean, he was expecting this life with her. And, I mean, that's why they purchased the house. And then, so he gets fed up. And he goes, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to prove to her that, that she was wrong, or that I was wrong, but in the end, I'm going to figure out why this house is making noises. And so he starts beating up the house, like opening up the walls and trying to figure out if there's like a drip or something, or, and then, you know, the story continues. It's really creepy, and I liked it. What did I give this book? I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. I liked the concept, but then it just started getting really weird. And it's okay to have horror and like a religious mix together, or like occult and horror together, because they're similar. They're like always in the same genre, but it was so off kilter to what the story was going for. I don't know. It just seemed very strange at the end. And, yeah. It was so good at the beginning. I was like, yeah. And then the end happened. I'm just like, what? So does this continue forever? Like, I don't know. I would, all of these novellas, because they're all pretty, you know, short, I would definitely try them yourselves, because my opinion doesn't matter. I just want to share the books with you. You might think it's absolutely fantastic. So I gave it 3 stars. It could have been better. I don't know how it could have been better. I feel like it could have been written a little bit differently. Maybe I just don't like the profession that the main character went into at the end. It just seemed weird that he was just so obsessed with his last client that it was a little off-putting. Like, you don't just jump into a situation like that normally. Anyways, the next novella that I read, I really, again, enjoyed. I didn't enjoy all of them. Insylum was my favorite, and then this was my second favorite. It's called Slip, and this is also written by the same author that did Limbo, and that is S.H. Livernoise. You'll see it here on the picture. But basically, this is about an older couple. They are in retirement age, so 60, 70, and the husband is sick or has cancer, something like that, and he has this bucket list that he wants to fulfill. And the wife, you know, they've been married for a very long time. She loves her husband. She wants to accommodate his wishes, but at the same time, she's just exhausted. She doesn't want to do this bucket list anymore. Her arthritis is killing her. Her back is killing her. They've been driving forever. They're on this like really long road trip, and the husband wants to like stop at all these places. And at first, when I started reading this, I thought it was like in England somewhere, but I guess it's here in the States, like in the Midwest or in the northern eastern states. I couldn't get a handle on exactly where. There is like meadows and then mountains, so it's somewhere near a mountain range. But basically, the husband and wife are on a road, and the husband likes to get lost. My grandma and grandpa were like that. They love just hopping in a car and just driving and getting lost, because it allows you to open up all these different secrets. Like, you feel like you're on a treasure hunt every time you jump in the car, because you don't know what's going to happen, and it's always spontaneous and exciting. And they remind me of this fictional characters. So the husband's all like, yeah, we're gonna go on this. I saw on the map that there was a shortcut, and the wife's like, I'd rather you just stick to the main roads. And he's like, no, this shortcut will work, don't worry about it. That's always a bad sign. Shortcuts are never a good thing. So they go on this shortcut, and it keeps going, and it keeps going, and the wife's thinking, we should have reached the town by now. I think we're totally lost. And the husband's smiling and not caring. He's like, it's okay. It'll be a fun adventure. And the wife's like, no, I'm getting worried about this. And then the environment changes, like the temperature changes. They were in summer, it's like August, and it was really, really hot. They had their windows down, and all of a sudden they are like in this gray fog. They start driving through this foggy, cloudy area, and then it starts to snow, and she's thinking, it's August, and we didn't, turn on the street. We've still been going straight, and our destination was a flat plain. Like, where is this snow coming from? And then they park because, well, they don't just park. Their tire explodes, and they have to get out of the car. Now, this is something that I've seen in a lot of movies and books, where there's a couple who has car trouble who then has to go seek help, and there is some kind of weather that they're having to deal with as well, either rain or snow or whatnot. So the couple decide to climb to this house that's up on a hill and ask for help there. Maybe they can stay the night, or maybe they can use their telephone for a tow truck, whatnot. And when they arrive, they're expecting the normal, like, creepy stranger. This is beyond creepy stranger. This is like the hills have eyes kind of creepy stranger. And so the story goes from there. I thought this one was great. It's creepy and kind of slashery, and yeah, I really liked it. But then it ends and you're thinking, oh, that's it? But I want more. The same thing that I felt in Insylum. I wanted more. I wanted to know more. And so I think these two authors are awesome. Z Ryder and S.H. Livernois. I will be looking for a full-length novel from these two authors because I really did enjoy it. If you like slashers, both of those books will satisfy your tastes because they were both great. I mean, there's blood. There's lots of blood, so check them out if you want. Oh, I lied. I did have another 4-star read. I forgot about this one. Mirror, Mirror. This one I was able to read during the Booktubeathon as well. I think I read Mirror, Mirror like one of the last days of the Booktubeathon. But it's by Anthony Strong. Now, this one is about a boy who is pretty poor. He's a college student, and he lives in, not dormitories, but like cheaper apartments that are near the college campus. And he's been furnishing his apartment with leftovers. So how he explains it, and I never lived in a dorm or lived near a college, so I don't know if this is true or not, but he said that whenever a student, I am so hungry, sorry if you keep hearing my stomach, he says when a student graduates or moves for the summer or decides they don't want to be at school anymore, instead of like taking all of their furniture and belongings with them because, you know, it's expensive or it's too much of a hassle, they just leave all of their unwanted items at the curb for either pickers to come and take their stuff or for the trash man to pick up and take away. And so our main character does that a lot. He's found his couch and other items like a lamp or something, and he's doing his pickings. It's early in the morning and he sees this mirror and he's like, oh man, that mirror is so rad. It's pretty intricate. It's got filigree on it. It's like this gold leafy kind of dirty / like old-fashioned kind of mirror. It looks like it has been around for a long time, and he thinks it's just totally cool and he wants to put it up in his house. So he brings it home and he invites his girlfriend over, and she's just like, ew, that mirror is disgusting. I hate it. And he goes, come on, it's the best. Help me bring it into the bedroom. I want to bring it into the bedroom. You're never supposed to put a mirror in front of your bed. That's what I've heard. And so that's the first place he puts it. Bam, right in front of his bed. He's like, I'm going to put it here. And so then the story goes from there. Things start happening with the mirror. The girlfriend never sees this stuff take place, but the boyfriend slowly starts to figure out that maybe this was a bad idea to put the mirror inside his apartment. And all he wants to do is get rid of it now. But can he? Is the question. I found this one very, very good. I gave it 4 stars. It has a great concept. I've seen mirror movies before, and so I enjoyed this whole, like, is the mirror haunted, or is there somebody inside the mirror that it wants to come out, or is there a way to keep the mirror, the person or the entity in the mirror trapped? Yada, yada, yada. I really enjoyed that. And the ending made it seem like there could be more. But again, this is a novella, so I really liked it. Definitely pick that one up too. Mirror, Mirror by Anthony Strong. Very much enjoyed that one. All right. The last book that I was able to complete during the Booktubeathon was the Boylan House. Now, I gave this one 3 stars, not because the book wasn't interesting, but because it's one of 3, and I hate when Amazon does that. It's like if you're reading a full-length novel, okay, and you've gotten the first book for free, which I've had that happen many, many times on Amazon or on Kindle. The author has has like a special, or you know what I mean, like they're brand new authors and they're putting the book out there for free so that way you can get a taste of it, and then they already have the sequels lined up so that way you want to read the sequels. And that's kind of like what this novella was, except they stopped in the middle of the story. Like, you cannot break a full-length novel up into parts and then make your audience pay for the rest of the book. Like, I was so furious that I had to buy the rest of the book, because this wasn't advertised as like a teaser, or you know those little like books where there's only 1 or 2 chapters in it. It doesn't say it's going to be like that. It says novella, so I was expecting a story. Anyways, okay, so what this book is about, oh, well, I was about to show you on my phone again. The picture's here. What the book is about is there's this boy who, when he was 6, I think, he had this thing happen to him on Halloween. So he's trick-or-treating, and then there's this house in their neighborhood. This is a famous house. Nobody ever goes near this house. It's the haunted house of the town. And legend has it that you'll disappear if you go near the house, or you'll be murdered or something. And so this 6-year-old is with his older brother and cousins and their older friends, and they're all trick-or-treating, and they get to that house, and one of the bullies of the group, like one of the oldest boys, are all like, you and I are going to go knock on this door and see if they'll give us any candy, or you know, regardless, we're going to go knock on this door. We're going to go up there because I'm telling you, you're going to go. And the boy's brother or cousin, I think it's his brother, goes, no, I don't want to do that. And the bully's like looking at him like, oh, well then I'll make you. And so our main character pipes up and he's like, I'll go. And the bully's thinking, wow, this little kid's got, you know, some balls. So, okay, we'll both go together. And so the bully and the 6-year-old, our main character, goes up to the house, and the 6-year-old sees something that he can't explain. The bully goes missing, and all of the cops and doctors think that the boy fabricated what happened because, one, he's small and he may not know what he saw, and two, it's everyone in town believes that that house is haunted, but doesn't verbally say that. So when the boy says, well, I think it was a ghost that took the bully, nobody believes him because they don't want to, and two, it's just too insane to believe. So the boy grows up, and he keeps going back to the house trying to figure out if he is crazy, like if what he was told when he was little is wrong, that he saw the wrong thing. He saw a man, like a drifter, who snatched up the bully. That was it. But he wants to make sure. And so he keeps going to the house periodically over his lifetime. And then when we meet him, he is in his late 30s, early 40s. And he's decided that he's going to actually research this house, figure out where it came from, how it came to be this way, why is it haunted, and it gets really good. Going into the library, checking out old newspapers, finding out all this information. I loved all of that stuff. And then we get to a part in the book where they're going to like speak to someone who lives in the town that knows about the house because their son went missing. So he wants like actual facts from someone who has been in the same shoes that he was. He wants to make sure. And that's when the book cuts off. And you're thinking, wait a minute. What happens next? At the end of my edition, they have these extras, and so there's like a prequel to the man that our main character is going to go visit. We get prequels of that man's story. So where he was when his son disappeared, how his son disappeared, what did he do when his son disappeared, all of that stuff. So we get the prequel, but I want to know about our main character. Like, yes, that was interesting, but that's not the story, you know, that's the past. I want to know what happens to our main character now. Does he get the information that he wants? But I have to buy it, and it's $3.99 for the entire trilogy. And you're thinking, geez, Missy, $4? You can't cough up $4? I could. It's not the point. Yes, it's cheap, but it's not the point. I don't want to. I don't. If I can easily spend the $3.99 on the story if it was one whole story. And I knew that from the beginning. Like, oh, I'm buying a book, like any book. I'm buying this book, and I'm going to buy it for $4, and it's going to have a beginning, a middle, and end, and I'm going to be satisfied. I'm not going to buy it knowing that they tricked me into having to buy it. I don't want that. It makes me nuts. So if you buy the whole thing, and maybe, I mean, I'm going to keep my eyes out for it on Amazon to see if 2 and 3 in the trilogy ever go on sale. Like, $3.99 isn't that expensive, but I don't want to spend that money. I don't want it. $1.99, 99 cents maybe, not $3.99. I never buy ebooks for that price because it's an ebook. Like, there's no actual monetary exchange for digital information. It didn't cost them anything to digitally give it to me. So it drives me crazy that you can buy an ebook for the exact same price as a hardcover or a paperback, because that has actual material in it. Like, they had to cut the trees down, they had to process the trees. all of that, workers and everything, that takes all the money and the time to create, so I can understand why we have to pay the prices for it to buy those things, because time and effort and money went into that. Digital copies are free. They should all be free, or renting. I don't mind renting a digital copy. Well, I guess when I say rent, I mean like borrow, like library style. Again, I don't want to pay for a digital copy that's expensive. I'm going on another tangent. I apologize. Anywho, I'm always off topic. So I gave it 3 stars. It did hook me. It's a very good storyline. I loved the world building. The characters were pretty solid. I just want more, and I don't want to pay the prices. And so I'm still butthurt about that. All right. The very last book that I completed in Yellowstone, but this was after the Booktubeathon, was MEG. Now, this was my favorite book of 2017, if you guys didn't know. Thank you, Erica, from the Perks of Books. I think I said it right this time. She talks about this book nonstop. And she was having a read-along in July, and I picked it up at the end of July to read to my children. And my son was hooked, and I loved it the second time just as much as I loved it the first time around. This book is the best. It's cheesy, fantastic, blockbuster story about a killer megalodon. It's just amazing. And if you have read it and you were reading it during the read along with Erica, what did you think of this book? Tell me down below. Otherwise, that's basically it. We have a main character who used to do a lot of deep sea diving with science companies. And one day he's down there and he sees something that freaks him out. He's absolutely certain in his mind that he just witnessed a giant shark. And the only shark that size could be a megalodon. And so he panics and he comes back up to the surface, but in the process he goes too quickly, and the people that were with him in the submarine die. He almost died as well. So he gets, you know, he gets scared. Anxiety is just all over the place. He can't do it anymore. He quits the company that he worked for. Not only that, but he was working for the military at the time, and they are really upset that he killed his crew, and they're blaming him. He had like a whole psych evaluation to make sure that he wasn't losing his mind. So he leaves all that behind, and he becomes a paleontologist and devotes the rest of his career on figuring out what the megalodon is, all of their functions, yada, yada, yada. And then the book goes from there. So a new company comes up, and they're diving, and they see something weird, and they want him to do this dive with them to check it out. And he's nervous because the last time he went down there in the Mariana Trench, he thought he saw a megalodon. He doesn't want to go down there. But Tanaka, his friend from the past, is like, please, I'm losing money. I need to make sure that these, you know, the equipment that's down there is wrecked, maybe from a landslide or something I can fix, something, you know, tangible that I can tell the Japanese company that's providing the money for us, you know, I need to tell them something. So he goes down there, and lo and behold, he's been right all along. And there is a megalodon. And the book goes from there. It's great. I absolutely loved it. My son really, really liked it. We finished this on the very last day of our trip. Right before we went home, I made sure to start early so I could read like the last 6 chapters or something. My kids really, really enjoyed this. And I'm happy to have the second and third book, because I do want to pick that up sometime in the next couple months and continue that with my children. Yeah, so I really, really liked it. Of course, I gave it 5 stars. And then we went and saw the movie a few weeks ago. Not as good as the book, but still as fun. Still cheesy, still fun to watch. That is a book that I would, or a movie that I would actually buy and want to rewatch, because it's got that such like entertainment factor. Even though it was different from the book itself, I still found it very enjoyable. And that is it. No, I lied. I have 5 more minutes before my battery dies. Good grief, I gotta hurry up. Gustav Gloom, and the End of Shadows. I finished this like 2 weeks ago, and I started the 6th book. This is the 5th book of the Gustav Gloom series. Gustav and Fernie are in the dark country, and this one's another filler book. They really don't have anything going on. If you've seen Deathly Hallows, you know, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, if you've seen the movie, it's split into 2 parts. You have part 1 and you have part 2. Part 1, Harry, Hermione, and Ron are just running through forests constantly. That's all they're doing, is just moving to make sure that they're not caught and trying to figure things out. So it's like kind of like a filler movie. So there's no real action in this one. It's just a filler. You're just like, there's a narful. I really like that. I love the pictures. I told you all these books have pictures. So here's a picture of Howard Philip October. He's a statue. That's his statue in the dark country. Really, I'm enjoying this series. I can't say enough about it. But I did give this one 3 stars because it was a filler book. Nothing really happened. And yeah. That's basically it. I have 2 more minutes. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this August wrap up. I did do pretty good. So for the last 2 months, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 stories. And I did start some more. I will talk about it in my September TBR, but I did start these ones at the end of August. Again, I will talk about those. This bad boy here is what put me in my reading slump the rest of August. I can't stand this book. I thought I would love it and I hate it. But I'm not a DNFer, and so I'm going to finish it up. And that is it. I will talk to you soon. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week.